Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, back to normal. I've put the tie away. The midterms are coming. And until recently, you may have thought it was going to be about issues like inflation, schools, the border, energy bills. But that all changed on Thursday, the 1st of September, with Biden's red rant. Now, I'm guessing Biden and the amateurish, juvenile hacks and swamp creatures who put the words in his mouth thought they were being clever, trying to distract and deflect from their failures and incompetence, inflation and recession caused by their reckless spending and economic mismanagement. The work crisis, despite a low unemployment rate, the lowest labour participation outside the pandemic shutdown in 45 years. Their cruel COVID school closures, their catastrophic Afghan surrender, their destructive pro-crime agenda, their deadly open borders agenda. But actually, Biden and his goons did the most politically self-destructive thing possible. Remind everyone exactly who Biden is. As everyone now knows, he is a totally mediocre machine politician, incapable of any kind of leadership or statesmanship, a corrupt partisan hack who just does what he's told by his donors, his handlers, his activists, whoever has the power in his party. This time, even they knew they'd messed up because within hours, they'd launched the cleanup. But as usual, once these clowns create a crisis, they end up making it worse. I don't hate all Trump voters, Biden said the next day, but
I do think anyone who calls for the use of violence fails to condemn violence when it's used, refuses to acknowledge when an election has been won, insists upon changing the way in which the rules you count votes. That is a threat to democracy.
Democracy. Oh, so let's see. Anyone who calls for the use of violence or fails to condemn violence when it's used, who could that include? Well, his own vice president, for a start, who pushed bail donations to get rioters out of jail and encouraged them to keep going.
They're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
And there's his own party's Speaker of the House.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
Yeah, uprisings across the country. Ultra MAGA Nancy, enemy of democracy. In fact, the House Democratic Caucus is riddled with them, pushing political violence.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
But remember, Biden said someone is a threat to democracy if they, quote, fail to condemn violence when it's used, which would include Joe Biden, who still hasn't condemned the political violence of summer 2020. Or, in fact, a Las Vegas Democrat official's brutal murder of an investigative journalist earlier this week. Moving on. Who else is a threat to democracy? According to Biden, quote, anyone who refuses to acknowledge an election has been won. Oh, so what, like the person he was desperate to make his vice president, who still hasn't acknowledged that the 2018 Georgia governor election was won by her opponent? And then the other people who are threats to democracy, according to Biden, are those, I guess we should call them semi-fascists, who, quote, insist upon changing the way in which we count votes. That is a threat to democracy. Yeah, a threat to democracy, insisting on changing the rules for elections. Like, I don't know, exploiting the pandemic to push mail-in voting, even though the 2005 Jimmy Carter James Baker Commission warned, quote, that absentee ballots were the largest source of potential voter fraud. Or like pushing the totally corrupt banana republic atrocity of ballot harvesting. Democrats have already done that in several states. Or how about disgraced former Attorney General Eric Holder's corrupt gerrymandering scheme? Or, in fact, the Democrats' flagship legislation, H.R. 1, the For the People Act, later the Freedom to Vote Act, which is almost entirely about changing the rules to tilt elections forever in the Democrats' favor. It's amazing. They really have persuaded themselves that Trump is so bad, anything you do to try and stop him, even if it's undemocratic, is protecting democracy. And it's not just Biden, it's his hypocrite lickspittles too. Look at this man, the sanctimonious January the 6th committee showboater, Jamie Raskin.
One, they don't accept the results of elections that don't go their way. And I think that's why President Biden was right to sound the alarm this week about these continuing attacks on our constitutional order.
Yeah, those attacks on our constitutional order from people who don't accept the results of elections that don't go their way. You mean like this?
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president is an illegitimate racist occupying the White House.
I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate president?
Based on what I just said, which I can't retract.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
The Russian attempt to have the election, and frankly, the FBI is weighing in on the election, I think makes his election illegitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
I mean, we can all laugh at the hypocrisy, but this stuff they're coming out with about their opponents being a threat to democracy, it's just so divisive. Even Trump-hating New York Times columnist Bret Stephens condemned it. Quote, "When a president makes the implicit claim that to be a small d Democrat, one must today be a big D Democrat, he advances the interests of neither his party nor the country. He only gratuitously insults millions of voters as deplorables, while again branding Democrats as the party of sanctimony and condescension." Exactly. When you start believing that your opponents are enemies of democracy, that is the mindset of a totalitarian one-party state. And the reason it's so frightening is that it can make you justify anything. If you think it's some kind of emergency for our democracy, well, you might team up with the tech monopolies to silence opposing voices, or cover up unhelpful stories about your presidential candidate's corrupt influence peddling operation with a hostile foreign power. The FBI establishment might refuse to investigate that influence peddling operation, or refuse to, follow up on interviews with witnesses who have first-hand evidence of the presidential candidate's corrupt influence peddling operation with a hostile foreign power. But why not? If you're the FBI director, you have to condone all this because Trump, it's a threat to our democracy. Everyone's saying so. It's an emergency, and in fact, if you persuade yourself that there's an emergency, there's no end to what you can do. If you talk long enough about a climate emergency, then you can ban the cars people drive or the cookers they use. You can destroy whole industries that employ people who don't vote for you. If you keep insisting there's a public health emergency, you can close businesses and make tiny little kids wear masks all day and close down schools and tell people what they can do and where they can go. And this is exactly what's happened. We warned about it at the start of the pandemic. I've got a sense about some of the long-term consequences of the coronavirus and the response to it. We need to watch out for a big government takeover. Friedrich Hayek wrote one of the most important books of all time, The Road to Serfdom, warning that the expansion of government to fight the Second World War would permanently destroy liberty. We face a similar danger today. There he was, Friedrich Hayek. And so you can imagine my delight when I saw this tweet. It's from a couple of months ago, but I came across it this week. Quote, "Emergencies have always been the pretext on which the safeguards of individual liberty have been eroded." These words just as true today as in 1973, when first uttered by Friedrich Hayek. How perfectly said by Tulsi Gabbard.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.